So I debated and debated and debated on how to do this class. And what I've decided is I thought that what I was going to have to do is just like touch on different things in the class. But what I'm decided that we're going to do is if everyone is set up or close to set up, is we're going to work on the fire station.
Oh, good.
The fire station touches on a lot of different things, and I think you'll be able to go on from the fire station to do other blocks.
Okay.
Next week, I want to do the cottage together,
Okay.
especially the corn stalks. You do not know. We need to do the corn stalks together. They are really tricky. And so if after we do the fire station tonight, you can go ahead and do everything except for the last two blocks. The windmill
Okay.
and the cottage, I want you to wait on until we do those corn stalks together. So, just a heads up on what you're going to need next week for those corn stalks. You're either going to need a different colored bobbin, like totally different. Like if you're stitching in white bobbin, you need to use bright pink thread. Another bobbin with a bright color or something.
Okay.
Either that or water soluble thread on your bobbin, in a bobbin.
I have some.
Because we're going to be fringing the silks on the corn. And if you look, here's two examples. Kelly, don't laugh when you see mine because yours is a lot neater. This one is all cleaned up, but you can hardly see the right bobbin threads to clip on this one. So if you've got water soluble thread, if you don't, you might consider getting some for that. You can do it without the water soluble thread. It's just harder. I did it both ways last night, and it was definitely harder without the water soluble thread. So that's what we'll do next week. And then the last week, what I want to do
Now,
is,
will you put the water soluble thread in your bobbin?
yes. Yep. You'll need a
Okay.
bobbin with water soluble thread.
Okay.
The last week then will be I figure by that third class you'll have had time to get all of them done and sewed together, and then at the last class we'll do the embellishments, we'll sew it together, and we'll do the lights. Okay. So to do the lights, though, there's a couple different things or different ways or tools that you can need to punch the holes. You can use like pointy scissors. It's harder with scissors, but pointy scissors. If you have the Kimberbell scissors, the tweezers have blades on the outside of them, so you can use those to poke the hole.
Okay.
Or there's a tool set that we have a little tool set that you can punch the holes. Or if you've got one of those like wrench or
Hole punchers?
yes, if you got like one of those
A
big,
leather hole puncher.
yes. Or if you got one of those, you can use one of those. Just a heads up on what you might need to go that way. Okay. I think that's it for that. Okay. All right. So, who's going to be sewing and who's going to be watching?
I will be watching.
Watching.
Watching. Anybody sewing? Who's sewing? Somebody's watching. That's okay. Okay. So, I get my head on straight here. All right. Now, has everybody looked at the directions? You read through your directions at all?
Yes.
Okay, did you have any problems with them? I mean, did you understand like
No,
how the
she's right
number
there.
of the
You can't
picture
get to her,
matches the
honey.
step and everything?
I understand that, Kim. This is Lynn. I understand that, honey, but I just didn't want to double hoop. And that's what I don't understand about not double hooping. And I want to do my quilting on the back at the same time. And I
Okay,
don't want to switch off. I want to do it continuously.
okay,
So I need to skip steps when I do that.
Okay.
okay. I'm gonna
Your
show you
mom
how
doesn't
to
get
do
sick.
that. I'm gonna go over that a little bit.
You'll be ready to eat about 6:30 or
So-
7.
Kim, this is Vicky.
Hi,
Okay,
Vicky.
what size? I want to do my quilting also. What size quilting
What are they
should you
talking
use
about?
for the 6 by 8.5 or 10.5 quilt? What
Really?
size?
You should use the 6x8.
Thank you.
What they did was they pretty much just dropped that half, so they didn't have to type it out. So
Say that again, Kim and Vicky.
if your trim size is 6.5 by 8.5, you just drop the halves. And 6x8 is the design size you need for the quilting.
Mommy be here soon, honey.
You go by the trim size and then take off the halves. Before we do that, though, I just want to touch on this first block, the welcome block, I believe it's called.
Oh, good. That's the one I started.
Yeah,
No,
that's
not her.
where did it go? Well, I was right on it. Okay, so the welcome block
We're watching.
is a very simple block. It's just got an embroidered bicycle, and the tree, and my other camera here.
Okay, if you're not gonna lay still, I can't hold you either.
Okay. Emmett's fussing. He hears me. He starts looking for me when I get home and he hears me. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so this tree block is really pretty simple. It's going to stitch out the bicycle and they'll stitch out the branches on the tree. And then the leaves are appliqued with the wool felt.
Hmm.
And what I did, ladies, after I stitched down all those leaves, I waited to cut them out. I just trimmed close to them around the outside and then just waited until I was done with the block to go back and trim them individually. There's a lot of trimming there. It'll tell you in the directions that when you do trim them, you want to cut up the center to kind of open up your
Yeah.
felt down the center to
Right.
trim them. And then it'll go up and it'll applique the rocket. I didn't follow the directions. I wasn't reading them. The directions actually say to use white thread on the red and red thread on the white, but this is what it looks like if you don't. And then it'll do the fireworks on the top. The fireworks on the top are always the last thing that's stitched. And the very last thing that it'll stitch are the eyelets for the lights.
Okay.
And you see, I didn't want mine to stand out, so they're in navy. Let me see if I can get closer. No, if you look on your directions in front of the step number, the little block will have a little color in it, and that's just kind of a recommended color, but use what you want. In fact, when I do this next one, instead of using gold in the fireworks, I'm going to use a light royal blue and see if that doesn't look a little different.
That looks good.
So, and you see, these are pretty easy to cut around. And this, of course, is what it looks like with I used a cotton thread, a navy cotton thread to stitch to my quilting. So you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. I know in all the pictures of this, they've used white. I just wanted it to blend into the background a little more. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna go to the fire station.
Oh, good.
All right. On this one we get to a bit of everything. We're going to use leather. We're going to use vinyl. We're going to use clear vinyl. We're going to use the colored vinyl. We're also going to use the topper material, the white topper.
Mhm.
Not very much of it, but we're going to use it. And it's got leather here. It's got applique. It's got a decorative stitch down here at the bottom. So there's a lot to this block. So I'm going to get started on that, and we'll talk
Good.
about this as we go, okay?
Mhm.
All right. So to get started, let's go over here.
Does that one have quilting first?
It does, and I'll quilt this first and show you how I do
Oh,
it.
good.
So-
Okay.
Okay.
Tell us the number that you quilted on the applique block sheet, please.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Okay, we got an applique block sheet to that tell us about our trim size, cut size, batting size, finish size, and file size.
Okay.
This is what I don't understand, because I want to do a 6 by 10 size, but I don't know how to pick out my trim size first,
Okay. Okay.
because I don't want to double hoop.
Right. So if you go here in your directions, at the very end of the section, before it goes on to the next embroidery,
Mhm.
it'll say here, trimming instructions. Okay, this is very important to look at before you do your quilting. Your trim size, it says square finish block to 6.5 by 8.5. And it says that you've got to leave 1/4 of an inch at the bottom below the foundation of the fire station.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll come back to that. The 6.5 by 8.5 is your trim size, Lynn. So find that
Okay,
on your chart.
okay,
So what size, the fabric size is 8.5 by 10.5, right?
right.
Okay. Your quilt size, I don't have the chart in front of me. So just follow over to the size of the design. Is it 6 by 8?
It's be 6
Yes,
by
it's 6
10.
by 8.
6 by 8. And that's how you find the size of the quilting block that you need.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's a 6 by 8.
Okay. So we're going to go over to our screen here, which is dead. And I'm already in embroidery. And right here is my quilting. I'm going to open up my quilt folder. I'm using Patriotic 1, which I can't read, so I'm going to go to here. Patriotic 1. And all these designs are going to come up. I'm going to choose the 6 by 8.
Yep.
And there it is. It's
Okay,
it's automatically centered to my hoop, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, I'm going to leave that and go back to my USB stick and go back to my main menu. Now I'm going to open up my Main Street Celebration folder.
Okay.
And we're doing the fire station, so I'm going to open up the fire station right on top of the quilting. Okay?
okay,
When you do these steps, the important thing is that you pull up your quilting first and then pull your embroidery design on top of it.
okay,
So now down here at the bottom, I'm going to move my screen up so I can see down here at the bottom, is I need to line up the foundation of the fire station with the 1/4 inch line of the quilt. That was the So I'm gonna go into edit. And I've got my fire station highlighted, so it's the one that's gonna move. And I just have to move it up just a little bit. And so I look at the darker green line is the outside, the 1/4" line of the quilting. And I've just put the edge of the stitching of the foundation right on top of it.
Okay.
Okay? And that's all you gotta do. Then
Now,
you-
Kim, can we measure up instead of editing? Can we just take a ruler, measure a 1/4 up and draw a line and then put your placement, your picture on that line? Or
Lynn,
would that be what you showed would be the easiest way?
this is the easiest thing.
Okay.
Take care of it all right now, and then you're done. You don't have to think about it again.
Okay.
Okay? What machine do you have, Lynn?
Fall creation.
Which one?
Sensational.
Okay. So yeah, this is much easier,
Okay, honey.
right? All right. Then we're just gonna go to embroidery stitch out. You don't want to change anything there. Actually, with your quilting, if your machine does a better straight stitch with the active stitch turned off, you're gonna want to turn it off for your quilting.
Mhm.
Okay. So you'll see here, all the ones are for the quilting. When we get down, and I'll mention this again, but when you get down to the 2, the first step on the 2, that's where your design, this firehouse station will start. And
Mhm.
we're actually going to skip those first 2 steps because the first step of the firehouse design is the tack down or the placement stitch for the fabric. Already done that. Second stitch is the tack down stitch of the fabric, and we've already done that. So I will remind you of that again when we get there, but we're going to start with step number 1,
Yep.
the quilting. If I can get this on here. And I'm going to use, I'm just going to use regular cotton quilting thread, not Fred. I don't know a Fred. And I'm going to do a
What in the
place.
hell is he doing?
Hold on, I got the wrong hoop size. So when you're quilting, you might need to use a larger hoop size. I think it mentions that in the directions. But okay, bear with me here. Yeah. So you can go okay, so let's go to sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the placement stitch for the batting. If you want to try to stitch when I do, right. So I've got my batting, and that chart in the quilting that you get with the quilting download will give you the size of the batting background too. Me, I just take a hunk and lay it down and cut around it. That works too. So save your scraps when you get your quilts done.
The fish, I don't think so great. The salad's
No.
great, and that's cauliflower.
Oh, thanks.
Lay down our batting and tack it down.
welcome back. It's been 5 years or so since movies were played at the old theater on Codell
So
Drive
it
here
takes
less
a
than
little longer to do the quilting, but it's really not hard to add it in here.
Different.
Kind of nice that it's all done when you get it together.
Project that could be part of an even bigger vision for the bluegrass.
The reinvention of the inside of the old movie theater on Codell Drive, going from this to this, bringing state-of-the-art studios.
Kim, can you mute people so that we can hear you?
The movie theater behind me, where 10 theaters will be
Yeah.
turned into
I'm
10.
gonna put everybody on mute and feel free to unmute if you've got a comment or a question,
Ross Babbitt,
Um,
Chief Content Officer for Wrigley.
so everybody can hear. Oop. Let's see. Well, I think everybody muted. Okay. Okay, so we'll just trim this padding off. This is important that you remember to trim the batting before you do your quilting. Okay. Now, on the background fabrics, you're going to want to put a fusible stabilizer on the back to help it keep from pulling a little bit. Okay, so I've got that already on here. I'm just going to cover up my batting and tack it down. And what it's going to do, it's not going to stitch directly on the edge of the batting now. It's going to go a 1/4 inch out from the batting. So actually what it's doing, it's giving you a cut line. So it'll help you when you go to trim your block. It'll give you some guidance on where to cut. Okay, then all we gotta do is quilt it. Turn that light down and see if you can see it better. Can't do that while it's stitching.
Kim, what color are you doing on your quilting?
I'm using navy blue.
Navy
and
blue?
I'm using cotton thread. You can use embroidery thread too. It'll either one.
Okay.
I just like my quilting to blend into the background a little more. Oh, okay. So what I just did, it tacked down the top. That first stitch that I did was actually a placement stitch for the fabric. I always forget that it does that. So if you tack down your top fabric twice, it's okay. Okay, now it's going to start the quilting.
Oh, I just look at
Yeah. This just takes a couple minutes to stitch out. It's a good time to check your other pieces and make sure you have all you need for the embroidery. Now I like too, in the directions, Kimberbell's added like the kind of stabilizer, like the light mesh cutaway stabilizer. It gives you hooping instructions. It'll give you instructions on placing your fabric if you don't do the quilting. And then the double hooping instructions if you're doing that. And they put the double hooping instructions in a teal color. So if you're not doing the double hooping, you can just, when you see anything in teal, just skip over it. You don't even need to look at it. Okay. Did everybody have a good day? It's Monday.
Yep.
No? Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Is the rain bothering you, Kelly? The weather?
Yeah, everything's going nuts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I hurt all over.
I could tell when you scooted over. I was like, oh, she's hurting.
Yeah, I've been that way for 2 days.
It's supposed to rain all week, too.
I know. Not looking forward to that.
No, do you think it'll mess with graduation?
It could. You guys could see Mary walk, but I won't see Christina.
I don't know. We might not see Mary.
Well, if you do get to go, make sure you wear your parka.
It's going to be cold Friday. Mary graduates Friday, and Kelly's daughter graduates on Saturday. We're 9 o'clock Saturday morning.
I'm 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, Emily will be here tomorrow night. Katie thinks it'll probably be Thursday before she drives.
Okay.
Kim?
Yeah.
If we do that 6 by 10, can I put that 6 by 10 in a 240 by 150 hoop? Or do I have to go larger?
You will probably have to go larger. In fact, I'm almost sure of it. 'Cause I
Okay.
did 6 by 8, and I don't think it would fit in a larger hoop.
I
'Cause I-
tried it this afternoon and you have to go larger,
Yeah,
a 360 by 200.
yeah.
Okay, honey, thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
bet.
20-year-old forced his way into a home on Marshall Lane Saturday evening. According to his arrest citation, Jones had a gun and pointed it at individuals inside. Police say he fired the gun and held several adults and juveniles hostage. When officers arrived on scene,
So I did a class on just about using the Kimberbell quilting. It's been, about a month ago. If anybody's still interested in that recording of that class, you can still get it. You just have to pay the class fee. So just give the Lexington store a call if you're interested in that, and Liz will send you the class if you want to still see that.
I
How much
love
was
that
that?
class, Kim.
Which class is that?
The Kimberbell quilting.
Oh,
All I did was go over how to use it,
yeah.
and I did borders in the class too. It was a good class, and I think it was only $10.
Yeah, I think I already saw it. So it's
A good
probably in
class.
my in basket.
Okay.
Did Liz put that where we could go back if we already paid for that, Kim?
I'm
And
not
watch it?
sure. I'm not sure. Try it and see, and if you can't, let me know.
Okay, because I already paid for that, but I have not went back to see if I could find that quilting.
I think you should still be able to, but yeah, if you can't and you want the connection again, let me know and we'll send it to you again.
Okay, honey.
So this is just about done.
So the quilting will be under the embroidery work too?
I'm sorry?
The quilting will be under the embroidery work?
Yep, it all
Okay.
goes underneath.
Is it coming up slowly?
Okay.
Yeah, and you can't even tell. You really can't. It doesn't, can't tell at all. So now, all right. I know what I need to do. I'm sorry, I can't hear anything next to this machine. Do y'all get like that where the machine starts pounding next to you and suddenly you just can't hear anything else? So if we look at the directions, the first thing that we're going to put down in the embroidery is the I'm sorry, what's it called? Actually, I'm skipping ahead. Okay, so the quilting is done.
Okay.
We're going to go see if you can see the screen here. I want you to see the screen. Okay. All right. So if I go down, right now it's on blue and you can't really tell. The first step for the embroidery is the placement line for the fabric at the bottom. We don't need to do that, so we're going to skip it. If we go to step 2, you can see that it's the tack down stitch around the edge for the fabric. Already done that, so we can skip that. Now step number 3 is the placement stitch for the door of the station. So
Okay.
that's where we're going to start. And what I'm going to do is switch threads because my quilting is all done. I can get rid of my cotton thread there. Now, this I'm going to use a navy thread. And it's important sometimes to make sure that you read ahead on your directions. It will tell you that it's going to do a decorative stitch down at the bottom.
Okay.
Not when it tacks it down right away, but, oh, sorry if I'm making you dizzy there. But if you read, it says stick the background placement line. And it's recommending, no, skip down. Inner building placement line. Okay. Stitch the decorative. Okay. If I read ahead to step number 5, it says stitch the inner building decorative outline. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, this is not the right what I wanted. Okay. So what I was thinking something out. Kimberbell has a sticky fusible, it's called, and it works great when you're doing a decorative stitch. I'm going to stop sharing for a second here. Okay, so I'm sure you've all noticed this if you've done Kimberbell before, but when it does the decorative stitches, it kind of goes in a circle. And when you do those little circles, the fabric tends to poof up a little bit. Yeah. Well, what this sticky fusible is you put it on the back of your applique fabric, iron it on, and then peel off the back, and the back is sticky. So when you put it down, it sticks in place and you don't have to worry about pressing it again. It just stays in place so that when it does that decorative stitch, it doesn't bubble up. Okay. And that's
Is that the one in the in the green pack?
Yes.
I need that.
No, we got one in and I took it home to try it and I left it at home tonight.
So that's the one that you can put on the back of the onesie?
No.
Oh.
No. That's different. That's a topper. You want the soft topper. This is really for applique placement. And I'm gonna say I would only use I would only use it if it's doing a decorative stitch, okay? And I'll tell you why here in this. I'll tell you why, because I put it on the back of everything when I did the general store, and it made my door, it's got a thickness to it. And it made my door so thick that when it stuck down for the steps below the door, my leather actually ripped a little bit.
Oh.
So putting it on the door,
Up and clicked the bird, he yelled at her.
it wasn't needed because there's no decorative stitch.
What you working on now?
I just got this. The store was it was like $20 and then I found it for $4.
I'm trying to get in on my computer.
Oh. Unmute, Karen.
I'm unmuted.
Okay. So
did you see I'm trying to get in on my computer?
Oh, did I miss it?
Yeah.
Hold on. No.
Oh, it says it's not responding.
You can try again if you like. But,
Okay.
So this decorative stitch, but not a straight.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what I put on the back of here is thinking I was having that, but I'm gonna just use the fusible backing. I'm gonna just put that on here and that will help too, but not like sticking down the other stuff. So the fusible backing is just like a woven fusible, like you'd use for a t-shirt quilt. Kimberbell has that now. It's just about like that. But the sticky would have worked well. That's what I wanted to use. I hoarded it and left it at home. Okay, so back to the machine. Let's go back to sharing here. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do a placement line for the background here. I need to turn my light off so you guys can see better. And of course I'm using navy on navy, so I know you're not going to be able to see this placement line. I'm just going to place this over the top and tack it down.
Now, Kim, you don't have to iron that down, do you?
I'm sorry?
You don't have to iron that fusible backing down, do you?
No, I just ironed it onto the applique piece.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have to iron it down. Even if you're using the sticky back, you don't have to iron it down. That sticky would like wash away or stay. It, um, gonna knock things here. Yeah.
But my leather will cover it, right?
Yes, it should.
So I
Yes.
don't need to put any liquid stitch there, do you think?
Hold on, let me see. Okay. Okay. So now what it's going to do, all it's going to do is it's going to go back and do the decorative stitch down at the bottom. And you can, it's bubbling up just a little bit. And you know, if you don't have this sticky and you do it, it bubbles up on this, it's going to be okay because the fire engine truck goes right on top of it and you never know it bubbled up anyway. Okay. So the next part is the firehouse. And I'm going to go ahead and switch my thread to white to do all my applique pieces. They'll all be covered with a satin stitch, so I won't have to worry about the color showing through. Okay, so we're going to do a placement stitch.
Kim will now, Liz will have a recording on this
Yes, it's recording.
tonight.
Yes. Yeah, you'll notice it looks like it's off, but it is not off center. There's another like stone piece that goes down here at the bottom, and then there's the garage door that goes right here at the top. So don't fool yourselves thinking that it's off center. One of the hard parts of this projects is figuring out kind of which fabrics go where. So your copies might be better than what mine printed up, but the windows are all the white with the blue dots, if that helps. And I figured this was probably a good one to go over with you because it's kind of tricky to tell what's what and where. Okay, so I'm going to trim this off. Okay. And here. Now we're going to do the placement for the, who caught my, for the cornerstones. And this, these cornerstones are this gray fabric with the weave to it. That's what I'm putting on there. I'm just going to cover them both. Tack them down. Okay, cut these off real quick. Okay, now we're going to do the placement for the garage door. And this was the fabric I had the hardest time figuring out what it was they used. And it's actually the white on white dot. It's a little white on white dot.
Did you do the window above?
Not yet.
That's
That's the garage door.
No, the window above.
That's the garage door.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So we're going to lay this down.
Garage door was the white on white.
Yeah.
I used my other gray one.
Oh, you'll never know the difference, Bobby.
Where was that?
The other
supposed to
gray
go?
one goes above it in the
Along
what's
the
it called?
floor division?
The floor division.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Okay.
just gonna use the white.
They would never know. So we're gonna trim this one. Can't talk right now. Okay, so now we're going to do the placement stitch for the floor division, which goes above the garage door. Okay, and this piece is another gray piece. The weave gray piece, that's going to go here. And my piece isn't long enough. Can I make this one work? Sure we can. Ooh, look on stop. Okay, don't do this.
Can I get bubbles? Does that mean my oven's not working right?
No. You have bubbles where?
In the thread.
Hold on, guys. Okay. So we're gonna trim this up. Then we're gonna go on to the windows. All right. Now we're going to do the placement line for the windows. Okay. Now for the windows, it's the white with the blue polka dot. You're going to take one piece and cover all 6 windows. And tack them down.
Kim, are you using backing for your lighter pieces so it doesn't show up on your red pieces?
Thought about that, but I actually did not on this because we're putting vinyl over it and the vinyl's got a blue tint to it, so it kind of looks more like nighttime, and so you're really not going to notice. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure. I did think about that, and
I did do it.
and that's okay. If you do it, that's okay too. Yeah. Okay. Looks like I'm gonna have to move this forward to trim these. Okay. Trim these up.
Is the seam stitch on this wide enough that it's not super close? Like it's super
Yes.
close. I end up cutting my thread.
Yeah. It should be fine then. So yeah, you know you need to be close, but you're not super close. And when it does the satin stitch, you can always watch because it'll stitch a line where the outside edge of that satin stitch is going to go. And if your trimmed edge is within that line, you're going to be okay. It's kind of a good way to tell. Okay. So this next part, we need to switch. Well, let me do the placement stitch. It's going to do the tires on the truck. So I'll do the placement stitch in white. You can kind of see where that's at. But to tack them down, I'm going to have to switch to black thread because we don't want white showing up on our black tires. Okay, so I'm going to lay down my black leather, cover up that little edge there. And it doesn't take much black leather to do these little tires. They're tiny. See if you can even see them down there. Okay. I'm going to try something here. See if you can see better with the light now.
They're so tiny, they almost could have just done it before.
Yeah, these tires are really tiny. So I'm not going to trim real close. I'm just going to get my leather piece off of there for now. Let's bring it forward. Get my little scissors. See if I can trim closer. These tires are barely on here. They're so tiny. If I can just get semi-close to them here, I can come back and trim them up a little better later. Okay. Now I'm going to switch back to my white thread. And we're going to do the placement stitch for the fire engine. Whoa, not where we want to go. Okay, everybody's made this mistake, right? You all know what I just did?
No.
Anybody? Does anybody know what I just did? I can't hear you, Betty. I forgot to push my hoop back in. So
You did something wrong.
Yeah, it started stitching right up here and it's supposed to be stitching down here. Watch this. I'm going to click in my hoop. Big difference. So I'm going to restart that stitch. And what I will do is go back later, and the stitches that don't get covered up by something else, I'll just take them out later. Okay, and it uses the red herringbone for your fire truck. I'm gonna lay that down, tack it down. Okay, I'm gonna cut this real quick. Are you doing okay, Bobby? Okay. You're fine, cause okay. So at this point, what it's gonna do is it's gonna stitch the little scroll work that goes on the edge of the clock. You look right here, it's gonna stitch that. So I need to switch my thread to gray. I use a light gray when I use the silver. I like that. It works really good. Actually, this one is pearl gray. I'm sorry? That's the lighter gray. Yeah. And there's a detail at the top of the clock that it's stitching now. I love the little details on this project. They really add a lot to the picture. Okay. All right. So we're going to stitch the placement line for the leather. It's going to use the silver leather for the clock. Does anybody have any questions about using the leather? It's nice. It's soft. It's pliable. It cuts like fabric. It works pretty good. Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay. Now we'll put the leather down and tack it down. You'll notice that when it goes around the second time, it's gonna make some decorative fill-in stitches in the post of the clock. It does that kind of stuff when it goes back around and does the extra stitching. What's wrong? So first for me in doing this clock is that the face of the clock is also leather. So we're going to put leather on top of leather, which I thought was really cool. I don't. Back on my workbench, there should be some. That's Justin stole. But Justin doesn't take my things. Kelly? Kelly must be checking on Mom. Okay. So.
What was that?
I wondered if you were there. I said Justin stole my tweezers. But he didn't. I was just teasing. Now, what I didn't realize when I did this, it's going to do the face of the clock, and it does the outside around the clock to tack this down. But let me do the placement stitch first. But what I didn't realize is that it's going to do like little marks for the time on the clock. And I'll show you here in just a second. So there's my placement stitch. And if you look, let's see, focus in. Is it going to focus? There it goes. Oh, you guys can't see it, can you? Oh, shoot. You can't see it. Let's see. Okay, you see the dark little notches there? See, I put navy thread in. If you want those little time notches to show up, you might want to think about using a light thread or a white thread. You can see them better in the daylight with the navy, but on the camera, they're not showing up real good. But when you tack down your blue leather, that's what it's going to do around the edge. Then it will stop, and you can change colors for the hands on the clock. Okay? Now, I've waited. You could have trimmed your clock too, but I waited. Let's see. What color do I want to do the face of my clock? I guess I'll stick with gray. Okay, so I'll place my blue fabric or blue leather. Then you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. I want you all to look at this because I don't like the way that's stitched. Can you see? Oh, where'd it go? Focus. It didn't fill in very well. I'm going to stitch that step again just to see if I can get it to look a little bit fuller. Okay, and now it'll do the hands in the center. So it's kind of nice with the leather. You can do all this stitching and then go back and trim the outside. Okay. So let's take a look at this. When I trim this, I'm going to want to take my time to get close to it and get smooth edges. So I'm just going to give it a rough cut for right now. Just so that I know that I'm not going to have any leather in the way when it does the fireworks or anything else that it's going to stitch. I'm just going to trim it up a little bit. Okay. Then I'll come back and trim it better at the end. All right. So our next part, we are going to do the windows, the garage door detail, which is going to be black. Let's switch back to black thread. Okay.
Powerful, long-lasting pants.
Kim, somebody wants to say hi.
Try salonboss.com.
Hi, Mom. I'll be home in a little while. Is she eating supper?
Drinking supper.
Drinking supper.
Yes.
Good.
Huh.
Okay. So I'm not going to bore y'all with all this satin stitching because that can take a while. So I'm just going to talk about a couple steps and skip over them so you can see the important stuff I want to show you, okay? But I'm going to let this stitch out because this makes it... That's my spot, Kelly. I'll let the garage door stitch out here. We're on step 26 with the detail of the garage door. After that, it jumps down and it does the satin stitch around the foundation, which are the white pieces there at the bottom. I'll skip over those and do those later. And then it stitches the building satin outline, which is number 28. And that's along the top sides, the top outer sides of the building up there. I'm going to skip that step too. I can come back and do that later. Step number 29 is the satin stitch around the fire station sign, which is the center white piece on there. Okay, so we have our garage door here. This is where the fire station sign's gonna go. So I'm gonna bypass that satin stitch on number 29. Number 30. Okay, I'm gonna do number 31, or number 30 is the flagpole detail that goes up at the top. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that one because it's in black. So I'm gonna jump ahead to step 30 so you can see that. It's just a straight stitch. And then the roof satin detail, it just goes flat line across. It's going to satin stitch just straight across. I'll skip that one for tonight. Okay, we're going to jump down to step 32, and that's going to be the brick placement line for the bricks. And the bricks are leather. 32. What's really nice is the steps on the machine match the steps in the instructions, match the pictures in the instructions. Love it. Thank you, Kimberbell. So I'm going to switch to white thread because they're white bricks. Are you okay, Bobby? Okay. So we're going to do our placement stitch. After all the satin stitches is when we really get into the details. So that's what we're going to skip ahead to here. Now, the bricks are the white leather. And you're going to lay down your leather so it covers all 6 bricks at the same time, or 8 bricks. How many bricks are there? 8 bricks. All right. So now lay down this leather so it covers all the bricks, and we're going to stitch those down. They did leave just enough room between the bricks to get your little scissors in there to trim the leather. There's about this much room. But there's room. Any questions so far? No? I think ideally, if you can, using a smaller needle on the leather is a little bit better because it just leaves a smaller poke hole through the leather. So an 80 or a 75 is good. If you're using a needle threader with a 75, it probably won't work. So just because of the size of the needle threader that goes through that eye. But I don't think though it's worth really changing your needle for just one section. But, ooh, got a little close on that one. Okay, so I'm once again just gonna trim this down and come back to trim it closer later. Okay, and I'll have to get this out of the center because we got to do that fire truck. Okay. All right. So we are ready. Wait a minute. Where are we? Okay. All right. This next part is going to stitch the windows and the satin part of the windows. I need to let it do this so I can show you the vinyl tack down. So let me get this started. And my little scissors go. Trim this up just a little bit. So as you can see, it looks like my fabric is shedding. Got little strands going everywhere. Okay.
Kim, what color did you use on the windows?
I'm sorry?
What color did you use on your windows? I see it's blue, but what kind of blue?
It's a bright blue. It's dolphin blue.
Okay.
It's really pretty. Okay. I'm going to only do one of the windows, again, to save you guys some time because it takes about 13 minutes to stitch out all of them. So we'll just do that first window. But when you go to do this, it'll do all 6 windows. But I'm going to stop it before it does the second window. We'll just do the one. Okay, so after it does the windows, the outside, you're going to switch to a gray, and it's going to do the ledge down below it. So time to switch threads again. And I used a darker gray for this, but a light gray would work too. The ledge below the windows. You can even use a brown, I guess, too. Okay, so we're on step 35. We'll stitch the ledge down below it. See if I can get you a better view. Whoop, what happened? Okay. So it paused it said to check the thread down below. So I'm going to stop for a second because we all know that it's better to be safe than to be sorry when it comes to your threads tangling. I'm just going to rethread this. That's the top part of the garage door, the window. Did you do that in navy blue? I did it in black. Thank you. Navy blue worked too. I think I'm going to rethread too, just to make sure that we're good. Everybody knows that if at all possible, you should not pull your thread from the top out of your machine. Is that right? Does everybody know that?
Yes.
All right.
But do we know?
Oh, you know not to grab your thread at the top of the machine and go
Oh, yeah.
cut it and pull it out from the bottom. Be gentle with your machine and they'll be good to you.
Kim, what's that sound again?
What sound?
Yeah, what sound did you make for the thread?
Oh, wish.
Okay, thank you.
Now I'm tangled here. There we go. All right, so we're going to stitch the ledge. And then the vinyl. Do you guys like using the vinyl?
Yes.
I like the effects that you get from the vinyl.
I like it, but sometimes it starts lifting up.
It starts what?
Lifting up. Like after you've done it and everything. Because I made some mug rugs and used the vinyl like on the TV and it started coming up. Is it because maybe I cut it too close or something?
Did it start lifting up when it was stitched down?
Yeah.
After it was stitched down?
After.
Did it get hot?
No.
And
I don't know if I just cut it too close.
Maybe it needs to be flatter more when you stitch it.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. It'll go back and stitch it later. Yeah. Okay. So one thing that Bobby just noticed on the garage door, the detail goes here, but it doesn't go all the way to the edge of the fabric. And that's because when it does a satin stitch for the building or the garage door, it's going to do a red satin stitch over that white edge around there. So don't think that you're offline. It just hasn't done it yet. Okay? All right. So for the vinyl, this is cool. It's the blue vinyl. It's like barely blue, but on the project, on the pillow, then it kind of gives you that nighttime effect that the windows are blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it down with white. So I'm going to change my threads here. Lots of thread changes on this pillow. Y'all be pros at changing your thread now. Okay, So you're going to take your piece and you'll cover up all 6 pieces or all 6 windows. And we're just going to tack it down. And if you don't like holding it, you know, you can put tape on there to keep it in place so you don't have to hold it. Karen, you might try that.
You're getting away.
Try what?
Why it would bubble on you unless it got hot. That's just really cool.
I don't know.
Okay. So,
First time I met him,
and for now,
it's through email.
you see it just tacks down around the edge of the blue. Okay? So we're going to pull this out, cut this thread. Okay. Now, I need to turn this so I can get at it a little bit easier. Too much going on here. Let me swing this around. Okay. So the vinyl, ideally, you want to be about, I don't like to leave 1/8 of an inch. I like to be closer than that. But you don't want to get so close that you're going to be cutting your stitches or right next to your stitches, because that vinyl will pop out of those stitches. So just under 1/8 of an inch. So I like to put my scissors in there and just cut.
Kim, I'm going to have to go, honey.
Okay,
Thank
Lee.
you.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks, honey.
Bye. We're going to come up. Okay, and then we're going to do across the side. So you're close, but not so close that it's going to pop through your stitches. Okay? I don't know if y'all got a good one.
Okay.
Okay. That's cool. All right. So all 6 windows would be done. And 37. Okay. The fire truck. So the fire truck, it's going to do the light on top first. Let's switch to red thread. If you want to use a brighter red, you can. I just use the same red for everything, just to kind of cut down on the number of thread colors. But you can certainly use different colors of red. These don't take long to stitch. They're just 2 little notches on the top of the fabric for the lights.
Firing somebody tonight, actually 2 people tonight.
Yes. Okay, then it's going to do the satin stitch around the fire truck. So this satin stitch isn't quite as big as the others, so you will have to be a bit close to those when you trim your fabric. You're going to want to be as close as you can to those stitches. The fire truck. You can see it's a little puffy. So this fire truck, as little as it is, has a lot of detail. It's got the lights on top. Next, we're gonna stitch 2 red panels that are down in the front. And then it's got side mirrors and it's got headlights, and then a grill on the front of it. So there's a lot of detail to it. So just a word of warning, if you saw me do what I just did, don't do that, or be very careful if you do. I did break a needle the other night when I did that. The needle got my scissors. So be careful if you ever try to trim your scissors while it's going. Okay, so the mirror, the grill, and the bumper details are going to be next. I'm going to go ahead and get my gray thread ready. Oh, that's the whips. Oh, that's cool. Isn't it? They're cool. They're really cool. I like this one. I love this fire station. It's got a lot.
You know, another place where it would be good to use that sticky stuff you're talking about is on the firehouse building itself. Some of those mine are talking about.
Yeah, I've got some pecker in the fire truck, but the pecker in the fire truck's really going to go away when we do the windshield. It'll tack it all down. Try turning my light.
I mean, I've got puckering on the firehouse, but I clipped some of the stitches.
Okay. So I'm going to switch to gray thread. Okay, now it's going to do the little side mirrors. On the other side. Now it's going to do the grill on the front of the fire engine. I should have looked up some firehouse jokes. Anybody got a fire joke? No? Uh-oh, bobbin thread's getting low. Okay, I'm going to switch my bobbin.
I can tell you what the police call the fire department.
What?
I can tell you what the police department call the fire department.
What's that?
They call them fire breathers and hose draggers.
Hose draggers.
You know, there's that friendly competition between them.
I'm sure there is. Okay. Got a new bobbin. Okay, so it's just gonna stitch the bumper for a minute. Stick and fuse. I think it's stick and fuse. Peel and stick. Might be peel and stick. Peel and stick. That's what it is. Oh goodness, that did not look good.
It came in a square thing.
Okay. Yeah, it does. I'm sorry, Bobby. This is not right. So look at how this stitched. It's wide, and then it got narrow here. That tells me that my bobbin, something's not right with that bobbin. And since I just switched it, I better check it out. That's really strange for it to pull like that. So I'm just gonna put it in again. And I'm gonna rethread the top just to make sure. And if you guys know, those satin stitches are really easy to take out. As bad as that looks, I'm going to go back later and I'm just going to take a seam ripper right down the top of that satin stitch and take it out and restitch it just because it looks so bad. Easy to do, easy fix. So, but I won't take your time with it right now. Okay, so after the grill and the bumper are done, what you got to stitch is the truck headlights. And these are yellow or gold, which I've got both. I used gold on the first one, but I think a brighter yellow would look really pretty. So I'm going to put yellow on this one. Of course, I'm doing what Tool Doberman wants. We're going to thread up with yellow. Would you go let my husband in? I'm pretty sure that's him.
I hope so. It says UNI on his shirt.
Yeah, that's him. Sorry, my security team is here. It's Tim. Okay. So let's do those lights. You put some headlights on the truck. All right, now we're to the windshield, the part you've been waiting for, right? All right. So did you all notice this lightweight plastic sheet in your embellishment kit? What you can do?
Stitching the fire station sign and the 4 division satin outline. Rosie, did you do dark?
The outline I did the gray, and the sign I did black. So this lightweight piece of plastic, it almost feels like it could be a shower curtain, is the permanent topper. And when this is used, it's used behind a stitch, a fill stitch in your embroidery, and it just helps the fill stitch cover the background fabric so it won't show through. But it is just a lightweight plastic. So we're gonna put this down first. And step number 43. And I did the placement stitch. You can kind of see it in yellow there. I don't want yellow windows, so I'm going to switch my thread to white.
So did you have to stop it in the middle of it?
What?
If you did the sign.
It should be two separate. Is it two separate?
It's number 29. Stitch the fire station sign and Florida Division satin outline.
Fire station sign.
Oh, it hasn't done the words yet.
No, it'll do the words.
Yep,
you're right. Okay. So what Bobby just noticed, guys, is on step 29, it says to stitch the fire station sign and floor division satin outline. Don't let that confuse you because it shows it in gray. It's not stitching the words. It's not going to stitch the letters yet. It's just going to do a satin stitch around it. It'll go back and do the letters in black later. Okay. And okay, so I've got white thread in. I'm going to place my topper over the top. And if I had tape, I would use it to tape this down. Oh, we have tape. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby saves the day, guys. All right, so I'm going to put a piece along the top. And I'm a little stingy with my topper, so I'm trying to keep it on the edge here. Okay, and we're just going to let it stitch. Thread. Hold on, I taped my thread down with it. All right, so it's going to fill in the windshield right over the topper. Okay, so once that is finished, we are going to tack down the windshield. Well, actually, first of all, pull this out. And we'll take the tape off. Save your tape, it'll be useful again. Okay, and this topper just peels off. Just tear it straight towards those stitches. Just pops off. If it catches in the center, what I did was I took my a fine point like a pin or the scissors here, and you can kind of just scrape that topper away from the center. Just pick it up. What you're really going to want to do at this point, because you're going to put that vinyl over the top and you won't be able to get at it again. So you want to do it now before that happens. Okay. If you have tweezers, tweezers will work great for getting it out of there. Thread. That out of there. Okay. Now just place the vinyl over the top and tack it down. Okay, y'all know what I just did again? Push your hoop in. I'm really bad about that.
I'm watching behind you.
If I pull my hoop out, I always forget to push it back in.
I use the thing you showed me.
What's that?
The hoop position thing. Push the scissors and it comes out.
Yes, I do that too, but with this little camera,
Oh,
I can't do it. It knocks the camera over. Yes, at home, that's what I would do. Okay, so you can see our vinyl's tacked down there. All right, so I'm just gonna trim off some of this vinyl. So this is the clear vinyl on the windshield. You don't want your firemen not being able to see where they're going, so they don't get the blue tinted window. Okay. We're almost done here. All right. Step number 45 is the fire truck or fire station words. Guys, the background doesn't really matter on this. If you don't want to turn off your thread cutter, I didn't on mine and it didn't look too bad. But if you want to, it'll look even better. But it's just going to stitch the word fire station across there. And I think I'm going to skip that part for now. And let's go up and do the stars. So after the fires, it prints out fire station, your fire station will be complete. Okay. Everything would be done. Then it'll go jump. The last part that every block does is the sky work. So I'm going to go back to white thread. Okay. We are going to jump to number 47 or 46, I'm sorry. If you have a lint roller at home, it works really good at this point to get all these threads off of your work area. All right, let's stitch some stars.
So this is what you were saying you were doing yellow instead of red?
No, that one I would keep gold. Down here is lights.
Ooh, I'm gonna use them. I've got some metallic I can use down there.
Liberty? There's mute on.
Kim,
Yes.
on the fire station door,
Yeah.
above the fire truck, you've got the white satin stitch and the black background.
No, it's a white background with a black satin stitch.
Oh, okay. That's what I could. Oh, okay. That helps tremendously.
Yeah, and then that white area around it's the edge of the fabric, but there's a red satin stitch that goes around that I skipped over for time's sake. But so this project, this little station, this block will probably take you 3 hours to stitch it out.
Okay.
It's got everything on it.
Okay. Well, on the this way, it looks like the white is what is satin stitched instead of the black.
Let me show you the finished one here. Let it get focused here. There it goes. Does that look better?
Oh, there you can see it. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
It's just so weird.
What it's doing now, it's gonna finish stitching out the firework, and then it will stitch the 2 red stars, and the very last thing that each block stitches is the eyelet hole for the light. And I used the navy again, but I didn't use the cotton thread. I used the embroidery thread for the eyelets. I don't know why, but I just did. And that is the end of your block at that point. Okay.
Okay.
On this one, I went ahead and put the little dog on because I love this. This is like my favorite thing of the whole thing. And then I want to talk about the flag. Look what's on the back of the flag. Can you tell? I don't know if you can tell in the light. Oh, there you can tell. Can you tell? It's glitter. So to make the flag, all you're going to do is, hold on, I can show you. Okay, so to make the flag, and actually to make the bunting too, what you're going to do is you're going to take your flag and cut it out. But you want to leave fabric around the outside of it. Okay? And then you're going to cut out a piece of the glitter. Let's see. Cut out a piece of glitter. Go ahead and take the plastic off of your glitter sheet. And then on the back side of your glitter, you're going to press your flag to the back side of your glitter. But you don't want to, you want to use a pressing sheet, or you want to make sure that you don't have any of that showing through so it gets stuck on your iron. So I'm just going to take this and press it. I got my iron pressing it.
Would I be saving, would it be hard if I just cut a piece for each side?
So I've got the flag stuck to the glitter, and then all you got to do is trim right on the line of the flag. Okay, and your flag's ready. I just thought they were very clever in this. And so then on your fire station, what you do is I just took some thread and just tacked it in a couple places onto the pole. So it can wave in the wind. Betty, thank you for laughing at my jokes tonight. And then, if while you're doing that, you want to, you could go ahead and do the bunting is the same way. It's got the glitter on the back. It's hard to see it. There, it sparkles. So if you want to go ahead and do that at the same time, you can. This was something it marked up on my iron when I pressed it. I don't know why, but just want to be careful of that. I don't know what it was, but those are there. So on my one on the machine, I'm just going to tack down the stars and do the eyelets, and then that one will be done. So to kind of wrap this up then, for mine, I'll go back and use the fine scissors and trim around the lamp or the clock post and the windows, and just kind of fine tune everything on my cutting. And so we did vinyl, we did the clear or the topper, and we did the leather. We talked about the felt on the tree. Is anybody have any questions about using the felt? Everybody pretty good with that? So from here, you could go ahead this week, if you've got time, and do the general store. There's a lot to the general store. It takes a little while too. It's really cute. It's got added flower pots and flowers and the lights. Really cute. And the windows are a little bit more involved. There's more on them. The thing I would say is to don't use the peel and stick on the door, because my door ended up being a little thick, and somehow it just kind of tore a little bit down here at the bottom, right below it.
Can't see.
Just kind of, yeah, you can't really see it from there. So just kind of watch for that. See if you can see it here. Focus. There it goes. So it does like a satin stitch there to give it a little bit of dimension. And so it tore just a little bit through there. I even tried stitching over it again, but it didn't really cover, but it'll be all right. Okay. And then you can also go ahead and do the gas in the truck. gas pump in the truck. It's the leather. There's a pocket at the top of the back of the truck. So you're not gonna, that will be left open. You're gonna have, the window will be done just like the windshield on the fire engine with the topper and the fill stitch and then the vinyl and the fireworks up here done in the glitter. Remember, it's red thread on white or white on red, unless you like my other one, red on red and white on white. Whichever way you like. And you can go ahead and do the other tree too. It'll be just like the first tree. It's got a leather tire swing, really cute, and the felt leaves. That right there is plenty for a week.
Plenty.
Okay, don't sweat it if you can't get it all done. It's not going to hurt you next week if it's not done by next week. Okay.
Okay.
So next week, what we'll do is the house, and we'll do the house, but we'll probably talk about the windmill. I don't think we're gonna have time to do both. Okay. Karen, are you talking to me?
Oh,
Talking
yeah.
to somebody else. Okay. So, that's our plan. Okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Excited.
Yeah, it's so cute, and it
It
really
is
is
so
fun
cute.
to see it come together with all the details.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any
I'll
questions?
sign off.
All right, Betty. Thank you.
Bye. Have a happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Okay.
Hi. All right, Melody, you look like you're thinking.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. No, I was making a list, and I'm a little still confused about the Kimberville Bill thing because I had trouble with it today. So I'll just come in and talk to you.
Okay. When are yeah. If you can come in, I can kind of show you better. Maybe
Yeah.
that would help.
Are you working Wednesday?
I work all day on Wednesday.
Oh, good.
Tomorrow I'm only here till 2.
No, I'm busy tomorrow, so Wednesday works out real well.
Perfect.
All right, that works. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hey, Kim, this is Vicky.
Hey, Vicky.
Listen, I'm from the Ohio place, so a lot. Listen, on next week on Monday, I am going to be in Arizona, so I will not be, but I'll watch it when I get back home because I'm not taking my sewing machine. But so I won't be on next week's class.
Okay. Yeah. That's
So
when you watch the video, if you have any questions, feel free to call me. I'll answer them.
I've got both sew-a-lots on speed dial.
There you go.
You have a nice Mother's Day, and thank you.
You
Place
too.
used to
Bye.
be full in the bar area, and they'd sell probably 10 cases of beer.
Karen?
I have to wait until the last week when we get home. I'm going to be sewing like crazy on that Saturday.
You are.
How far am I going to need to go
Of course,
today?
I was one of the ones there that voted against it.
Today?
Yeah, how
That's
far
your
did
size,
we?
right? Well, that's
We
it.
did the
Yeah.
firehouse and
Yeah, we did
Yeah, that's perfect.
pretty much everything. I mean, we covered everything.
okay. Yeah, now I understand the quilting part.
It's just the corn stalk that I'm worried about.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to do those. So
Okay. Now when we quilt it, can we quilt with like
Who picked out the shirt?
the shiny thread?
yeah, you can build it with embroidery thread. I just wanted mine to blend in more. But
Okay.
Who made the card?
yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Have
Okay.
fun, Karen.
Okay. Bye.
We can,
You're fine. All right, Kelly. You got any questions?
No, but I really like how those other two turned out. The truck turned out real well.
It did. Beautiful. I worked really hard on that truck.
I know you did. And the swing, huh?
I love the porch swing.
Oh, that is cute.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah,
But
that is
yeah,
cute.
that corn was a booger.
Mm-hmm. I told you.
Corn was a booger.
Corn was a booger.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, we need to do that in class. Yeah.
Okay, hurry home, please.
I will. I will. Hi, Mom. You doing okay?
Yeah,
How do you feel?
okay.
All right. I love you.
Love you.
See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kelly.
You're welcome. Ah, I can't get off.